It's not always easy to find truly well-made shoes for women, shoes that are timeless, elegant, and built to last. That's why I just keep coming back to Carmina Shoemaker, which, in my opinion, offers the best selection of Goodyear welted women's shoes you can find online. I already own a beautiful brown pair of their Balmoral boots, which I bought over 4 years ago. I even shared a recent update video on those, which I'm going to link on the screen so you can check that out if you want to. And ever since I bought my first pair, I've been saying how much I'd love to add another one to my wardrobe, just because I've been loving my brown boots so much. Well guys, the time has come. I stopped talking about it and actually treated myself to another pair of Carmina's Balmoral boots, this time in their black colorway. So in today's video, I thought it would be interesting to actually compare the two, the pair I've been wearing for years and my brand new ones, looking at craftsmanship, the details, and whether anything has changed over the past few years. And with that, I think this intro was long enough, so grab yourself your drink of choice, get comfortable, and let's get right into the video. Alright, so before we get into the comparison, I thought I'd just give you a little bit of background information about the brand and the boots. Carmina Shoemaker is a Spanish family-owned brand that has been handcrafting shoes on Mallorca since 1866. They are known for their high-quality leather footwear, from boots to loafers to dress shoes and sandals, and they even offer a custom-made program where you can design your own shoes if you have something specific in mind. Now, let's talk about the boots. These are the Balmoral boots from Carmina. They cost €525 and I bought mine in a size 38. Lengthwise, I'm more of a 37.5 when it comes to shoes, but because my feet are wide, I always like to go for at least half a size bigger, just so I have a little bit more room. The boots come in 5 different shades, so obviously they have the black version, which I'm showing you right now. They also have a brown one, which is partially suede, partially smooth leather. That version I also own. In addition to that, they offer these shoes in a burgundy shade, a light brown, and a light brown suede leather. The burgundy and the light brown smooth leather cost more than these. They cost $915 just because the leather is different and it is a more pricey leather type. You can also customize a pair of these boots if you don't like the types of leather or the color choices. They have a lot more leather options when you choose the customized program, but these boots will be more expensive. I think they start at like 700 something when you customize them. So keep that in mind, but I think it's a great option if you want a very specific boot. These black boots are made from a black vitello leather. This leather is a fine grain calf leather, which is very smooth and is known for its durability. It feels very soft and is supposed to develop a beautiful patina over time. These shoes are made with Carmina's Madison last. A last is basically a 3D mold or form that is used during construction to shape the shoe. So it determines the fit, shape, and silhouette of the shoe. The Madison last is Carmina's best-selling last, and it's also the first last they developed for their women's line. They started making women's shoes in 1999, and well, this is the first last they created, so I think that's actually quite lovely. The last is supposed to look very feminine and elegant, with a spacious toe and instep area and this almond shape to the front. The sole is called the Alpha sole, and it's mainly a leather sole, but it has small areas of rubber injected in key spots, so you have better grip when you're walking and it's more comfortable because it's not as slippery as just having a leather sole. It's also nice to have the rubber in these places because that means when it's wet outside, when it's raining, which it does a lot in the autumn and winter time, the shoes are more durable and more protected because leather soles can get quite damaged when it's wet outside. The height of the heel is about 2 centimeters, which I think is a perfect height for just a normal pair of boots, not too high that your feet feel it, but it does give you a little bit of a lift. So yes, just a tiny little heel in the back. And the inside of the shoe is lined with a kid lining, which is very soft and smooth. I think it's a goat leather, and it just provides some more comfort while also just making the shoe more durable. Color-wise, it is in this lovely orangey shade. I personally would have loved for it to be maybe a red lining because I just really like black dress shoes or black boots or whatever with a red lining. I just think it looks very pretty and elegant, but the orange is also fine. I'm not sad about it, but it it would have been even better if it were a red lining. And the last thing I want to mention about these shoes is they're made with a Goodyear welted construction. A Goodyear welted construction is basically a very traditional way of making shoes. And to explain it very basically, it is when the upper shoe is sewn to a leather weld, which is kind of a leather strip, and then the leather strip is also sewn to the outer sole, which means it's easy to resole these shoes without damaging the upper leather. That way your shoes will last you for many, many years and you don't have to throw them away when the sole is worn down. Okay, so that was some general information about the shoes. Now let's have a look how they compare to my old ones. So these are the first pair of Carmina Balmoral boots I ever bought over 4 years ago. They have seen a lot of wear, so we need to not look at the creasing and the sole being worn down. That's not part of this comparison, obviously, because these are new, these are worn. But there are a few key things that differ between these shoes that I want to mention because I think they are quite interesting to hear about. All right, so the first thing I noticed when I unboxed these shoes and put them on for the first time is, wow, they are really tight. I do have to mention that I have quite wide feet for a woman and I also have a bunion on my right foot. So normally shoes are just too tight on my feet. But I was very surprised because my brown shoes, the ones I bought ages ago, they are just perfect. They are so nice to wear. They don't feel tight in any places. So I was just like, what's going on? Why do these shoes just feel so narrow and so tight? And the second thing I noticed about the new boots when I compared them to my old ones is the sole is actually way slimmer. And it's not only the sole, it's also the heel, like the whole outer sole is slimmer. Like in this part, it's about a centimeter that this sole is slimmer than the one on my old boots, which I kind of started panicking at this point because I thought, what's going on? They feel really narrow. The outer sole is also way slimmer. Did they change anything about the fit? So what I did is I reached out to Carmina's customer support. By the way, their customer support is so good. The lady that helped me was very kind, very respectful, very quick with her answers and very helpful. So customer support, only love for them. But what she said was they didn't change anything about their last. So as I mentioned, for the Balmoral boots, they use their Madison last, and the last pretty much determines how wide the shoe is and how long it is, how the instep area is shaped, how the toe box is shaped, all of that kind of stuff. So if they had changed the Madison last and made it more narrow, that would explain why the shoe just looks different and feels different. But she came back and she said nothing was changed about the last. It's still the same old Madison last. It's not more narrow. It's probably just that you've worn your shoes in so well that they feel very comfortable. While these, because they are new and not stretched, that the leather hasn't stretched yet, they will feel a lot tighter. So nothing has changed about the inside measurements of the shoe, which I kind of double checked because I measured it myself just to be 100% sure. And let me tell you, it's not easy to measure inside of a shoe, but I did find that these two are very similar. I think there was like maybe 2 millimeters of a difference, and that could just be because I've worn the other boots so much. So yes, the inside measurements are still the same. I've just worn my shoes in so well that now they're really comfortable and don't feel tight anymore. One thing that is different about the boots is they're made from different kinds of leather. So as I mentioned, these shoes are made from black vitello leather, while the brown boots I bought a few years ago are made from Vigano leather. Basically, the difference between the two leather types is these are supposed to be more soft and they're quite a smooth leather, and they are supposed to develop a beautiful patina, while the Vigano leather is supposed to be more firm, which leads to it holding its shape very beautifully over time. I can confirm that the black leather feels quite soft, but because the brown boots have been worn so much, they actually also feel really soft when you're wearing them. The leather has stretched a lot over the time. I could potentially imagine that maybe these black boots won't hold their shape as nicely as my brown ones have. But to be honest, I don't think the difference is going to be very big. I usually always have shoe trees in my shoes when I'm not wearing them, which keeps them in really good condition. So I'm going to do that with the black ones here as well. So I'm not really worried about them losing their shape. And because the leather does feel quite soft, I think they will be nicer to wear in than my brown boots were back in the day. Quality-wise, both pairs of shoes are of a very high standard. I haven't really seen a difference in how neat the stitching has been done or how the sole has been finished. Everything just looks nice and neat and tidy and well made. A minor difference between the two pairs is the pull tab at the back of the shoe. The pull tab on the black boots is, I think, made from some kind of cotton, while the pull tab on my brown boots is made from leather, and I personally just prefer them being made from leather. I think that will hold up better over time. So I'm not quite sure why they decided to go for a fabric on the black boots, but well, I would have preferred for it to be made of leather. Another thing that's different between the two pairs of shoes, which is actually quite obvious, is the black ones are made from 100% smooth leather, while the brown boots are partially made from smooth leather and partially made from suede leather. Up top where the laces sit, the brown boot is made from smooth leather, and that doesn't wear too well because the laces kind of leave indentations, and you won't have that with the black boots. You will probably have some kind of indentation when you wear them for quite a while, but I think it will be a lot less. So probably the black boots will have an advantage over the brown boots, and they will look better in a few years' time in this particular area of the shoe. Talking about laces, the original Carmina boots come with a cotton pair of laces, and they have leather strips glued to the end of them, which I think is a really cute detail. It does mean that you can't take them out without destroying them when you want to shine them or clean them, but well, I don't actually do that very often, like taking all of my laces out. I would say they probably last for maybe a year, and then they start looking like grubby and you just want to exchange them. In my brown boots, I currently have a pair of leather laces because I couldn't find cotton ones that I really liked, but I do think the next ones are going to be made from cotton again because they just tie better than leather laces. As far as I can tell, there haven't been any changes on the insides of the boots. They just look nice and new. And I kept the biggest difference between the two pairs of shoes for last, and it is the sole. So the sole of these shoes is the alpha sole, which is partial leather, partial rubber. And with my brown boots, it's actually the silver sole. I think that's just Carmina's way of naming their soles. It's not like an official name for a sole, but their silver sole is fully made from rubber. And I do have to say that I prefer that. Unfortunately for me, the black pair of boots didn't come with the silver sole, which I was a little sad about because I would have gone for a fully rubber sole. I just think it's more practical in the winter and autumn time because then you can wear it when it's raining and you can also wear it in the snow if you have to. With these, I wouldn't go out in the rain or in the snow just because I didn't want to damage the leather parts of the sole. I could have gotten these boots custom made, and that way I could have chosen the fully rubber sole, but it would have been 200 euros more expensive, and I wasn't willing to pay that price, to be honest, just for a different kind of sole. So I went with the off-the-rack option, and they do have a little bit of rubber, so I think I'm going to be fine. I'm just not going to wear them as casually as I have the other brown boots. So all in all, a few things have changed, but the important things, the quality, the craftsmanship, and the last are still the same, and these boots are still of amazing quality. As I said, I would have loved for the sole to be fully made from rubber, the pull tab made from leather, and maybe a little bit of extra width in the front of the shoe, but I'm sure that will sort itself over time. But other than that, I'm very happy to report that Carmina's Balmoral boots are still as good as they were 4 years ago. And that, my friends, was everything I had to say about these boots. I really hope that you enjoyed the video and that it was helpful in any kind of way. If you like this type of content, maybe consider subscribing. It would be lovely to have you here. If you want to watch some more of my content, I'm going to leave a video linked up on the screen right about here for you, so you can check that out if you like. And I think I did enough talking now, so thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and we will hopefully see each other for my next video. Bye bye!